So today with me, I have Jerome Mourelatos, and he is a firefighter, a paramedic, and an author. It is such a pleasure to have you with us, Jerome.
Thank you.
So tell us about yourself. Where do you live?
Well, I live in Newport Richey in Florida. It's over by the Tampa Bay area. And I work for the city of Clearwater.
Excellent, excellent. So how long have you been a firefighter?
So I've been with the city of Clearwater for a little over 15 years, 15 and a half years with the department.
Oh, wow. So do you do this full time?
Yeah, it is my full-time job.
Oh, amazing. So what ignited your passion for this career?
So I was initially always interested in the medical field through my mom. My mom grew up, she was a nurse. So I was always interested in the medical field. And then in my 20s, I got more into the marine industry because of my dad. So I spent a good part of 15, 20 years in the marine industry as a kid, being around boats and everything. And then I remember as probably into my late 20s, into my early 30s, I remember seeing somebody get hurt. And it kind of bothered me that I didn't know anything what to do. I couldn't help them. It broke my heart. It's like I wanted so much to help them, but I didn't know how. And then I was always interested in the medical field through my mom being a nurse. So that's when it kind of dawned on me. So, you know what? I'm gonna switch careers. This was probably my mid 30s. Go back to college and get pretty much change careers and become a paramedic. And from there, I went on to become a fireman
Oh,
because
wow.
yeah, it was something that was drawing me. See, a lot of people say that being a fireman, you don't pick the career picks it for you. Well, I still remember that incident. That's when the career ended up picking me. It's kind of drew me in so I could really be my best for people when they were at their weakest moments.
That's incredible. I mean, thank you so much for your service and doing this. And I feel like I need to take CPR classes just to even at least be able to help somebody because I feel like you, well, back then, I don't know, I wouldn't know what to do. I
Yeah.
think panic would just like take over. I don't know. But so, well, what does your typical day look like at the fire station?
So we work 24-hour shifts, 8 in the morning to 8 in the morning. Usually I show up about 30 minutes early, have coffee with the guys. We talk, they let us know what happened the day before and kind of fill in. So our shift start at 8 o'clock. The way it starts off is I have promoted to an engine driver. So my job is to drive the fire engine. Each person has a specific job to do on their department. I spent 13 years on a rescue, which meant I just ran all the medical calls. So a couple of years ago, I took a promotion to a driver. So my typical morning starts, I get to the station, bring my equipment onto the engine. I'm responsible for every piece of equipment that's on the engine. Pretty much just go through all the compartments, make sure the fire engine's in proper working condition. Um, and then after our morning check, we usually have a morning briefing with our lieutenant, lets us know what's the plan for today. And then we either do station duties or we have training to do and kind of go from there. And mind you, a lot of times we get interrupted by calls because I am at a busy station. So that's pretty much the aspect
So
of it.
what kind of calls do you do? It's just not, you know,
So yeah, there's a big misconception about firemen. That's all we do is fires. That's not true. We pretty much run every 911 call because I'm a paramedic as well. All the guys on the department are paramedics, and we're also specially trained in individual fields. So we run all the medical calls, all the accidents, water rescues, plane crashes, the fires, the fire alarms, any kind of hazmat situation, anything you can possibly imagine, we're going shootings with the police department. So a lot of us, we have our minimum standard, which is being a fireman and a paramedic. And from there, we have additional qualifications, such as because we're in Florida, I'm Marine certified. So I'm certified as a water rescue. So we'll go on water rescue operations with the Coast Guard. We have other guys that are part of the SWAT team. They'll whenever there's a SWAT incident, our guys or SWAT medics, they'll go out with PD for those certain types of calls. We have other guys that are hazmat trained. So you have any kind of chemical exposure, our guys are going to that situation. So if anything happens, we're going to it.
Oh wow. So there's excitement, there's adrenaline, there like what is your how does it feel when when I guess the bells ring, right? Is it the bells ring or how do
Yeah.
you when you get that 911 call? I mean, what is your first, what's your reaction? How do you respond? Do you
So it still is exciting. Obviously the tones go off, the bell goes off. Dispatch let us know what type of emergency it is. If it's a vehicle accident, a sick person, a child, an older person in a nursing home, a plane crash, whatever it is, we kind of have an idea. And then from there, we're looking at the notes, getting the information as dispatcher sending it to us on our computer. And then we kind of come from there. We kind of form a plan, what we're going to do when we get to the call and how we're going to manage it. Every call is different. You know, that's all I can say is every call is different. I don't know what our day's going to bring. So
yeah.
that makes it really fun and exciting. It's definitely not a boring day, a boring shift.
No, it doesn't sound like it at all.
Yeah.
So what do you find the most rewarding about this?
So honestly, the most rewarding thing for me is being able to do things off of work. I know there's a few years ago, a couple of years ago, right before COVID hit, February 2020, I had the privilege of helping out a disabled child. So this was a kid that I was running on for a lot of years because of seizures. He had a severe and rare disease called Alexander's disease, which he only had a life expectancy to about 8 or 9. So I started seeing this kid when he was about 3, running calls on him, and then for a lot of years stopped. I assumed he had passed away, and then several years later, I started running on him again, and I saw him, and he was now from I think he was maybe 5 or 6 years old at that time. He was now 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, full grown child. And the grandma who was taking care of him told me, yeah, he's done a great job and outlived his life expectancy and is doing so well. So
Oh,
I was really happy to see that. The downside to it was he had gotten so big and she's, older, being his grandma, he can't now physically get outside of the house because he's unable to use his legs. He is a handicap because of his disease. So I came up with the idea to build him a wheelchair ramp on my off-duty days. I talked to my chief. My chief was on board. I talked to the guys. The guys are carpenters. We have a lot of guys that do other things outside of work. They have their own businesses. So I talked to them. I came up with a plan, found a local architect, found Lowe's actually donated a lot of the materials. So I kind of put everything together. And we went to his home and built him a wheelchair ramp. And that's actually on the news. And if you Google it, it's been all over there as well. So we built him a wheelchair ramp so he can go outside and enjoy the simple things, such as seeing the Christmas tree lights at Christmas. A nice day, be able to get out in the sun, and be able to take walks. So that's something I was able to do with it. And that's, I think, the most rewarding part of my job is being able to help people outside of work. Yeah,
that's
it was a great thing.
incredible. You made it's I'm sure everybody's teary-eyed that's listening to this. That's incredible. You are amazing. You are a godsend.
So being able to do things like that outside of work, it's been the most rewarding thing. I've worked for a great department and great group of guys. So being able to help people out off of work. I mean, I go to work, help people out. That's my job. Honestly, I don't deserve any credit for that. I get paid to do that. I'm a professional. I get paid to do that. But doing things outside of work, helping people outside of work, that's what it's about. That's ultimately, and you don't have to be a fireman to do this. It could be helping, a person, older person at the grocery store when they don't have enough money to pay for the groceries, or when you're in a Starbucks line, paying, just paying the person behind you. It could be so many little things. You see, a homeless person that isn't asking for money, they're cold, just taking one step to help somebody out. That's where it ultimately comes down to. You can't save the world, but you can save one person at a time.
Amen. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And on the other hand, though, I'm sure there's challenges. Can you name a challenge that, it's been hard for you to, just kind of overcome? Or, I mean, is there anything? Do you have challenges?
Yeah, I think everybody has challenges. Um, I can't, it's kind of hard to think about that right now, but yeah, everybody has challenges. Everybody, I think the biggest challenge is trying to balance work with your family life. Obviously, I'm a dad. I got 2 kids, a wife, 3 kids, and a wife. So being able to balance the home life with being away for 24 hours or sometimes even 48 hours, that becomes a challenge, the personal life. And then I also coach Little League Baseball. My son's head coach. So that's a challenge, or at least personal challenge for me, is trying to balance, I got 12 kids on my team, try to be a head coach for them, as well as manage work because I'm gone for 24 hours. Everybody has their own personal challenges.
Yeah.
Um,
So I have Googled you. That's actually how I found you. And there is story after story after story about you, because you have written a book. You wrote a
yeah.
book, The Adventures of Alex and Ben in the Beachwater Fire Department. So, can you tell us what the inspiration was about that? Tell us about the book.
So when Alex and Ben were, they're my 2 kids. They're, about a year and a half apart. When they were first born, they grew up at the fire station. And every night I would read them fire books, different types of fire books. And what I noticed was every time I was reading these books, it always about these characters, these bear characters always going into fires. I was always about, different types of characters going to fires. And I realized that that's so much more what we do. A fire is going into fires, it's a small percentage. So I really wanted to teach them more and kids more about what we do. And then I remember they were just playing around in the living room, and then I saw this little guy. This is one of the little toys, you know. So this little guy was my biggest inspiration. So watching my kids play, Disney was on TV, and I saw this little guy sitting there. And as soon as I saw this guy, I realized, you know what? I got to write a book about Alex and Ben and this little guy. This is the one that inspired me. So I thought about writing a book, a children's book, and incorporate all the different types of adventures that we do. Because I wanted my kids to know that when I go to work, it's not I'm just going on fires. I could be, I don't know, we have on a boat trying to rescue a kid that's trying to drown, or a person. Here in Florida, we have the riptides that get pulled out in the ocean. I could be on a plane crash. I could be car accidents we go through all the time. So I wanted my kids to know more of what we do, not just going to the fire. So that's where I came up with the adventures of Alex and Ben in the Beachwater Fire Department. Hence, I live here in Clearwater. So I kind of came up with the story idea and wrote it out. So in my book, it has different types of adventures. And my whole thing with this book is I want to write a series. So the initial book was to let kids know all the different types of adventures we go to on. My next books will be a little bit more specific on what we do on each type of call.
And your sister also got involved with this too. Is that
Yeah, my sister lives in Arizona. So my sister was big in computers at the time, really great graphic art designer and everything. So I talked to her about it. I kind of showed her my character and pretty much hand wrote everything. I'm not the best of artists, but I kind of hand wrote everything. Took a bunch of pictures of Clearwater, my fire department, how I wanted the book to look, the characters to look, and kind of wrote the storyline. And then I kind of gave it to her. She did her magic on her computer. She's a whiz at computers and came up with the characters, and we ended up putting the whole thing together.
that
So
that is incredible. I looked at it. You can order it on Amazon.
mhm.
Is there anywhere else that you can order it?
Yeah, it's also I'm creating a website called Beachwater Books that should be up and running probably the next few days, and you could order it from Beachwater Books as well, which will be a little bit below retail price.
Excellent. It's beautiful. I looked at the images. I'm gonna have to get a copy, but I was looking at it and it's yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it came out really good. And the thing is, like, I sat on that book for about a good portion of maybe 10 years. So after I wrote the book, and everything was done, I ended up sitting on the book. And because life got busy, kids started getting older, I just sat on it, but I always wanted to get it published. So it was always in the back of my mind. Um, and then I finally got about a year ago, finally got around to saying, look, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get this done, do it the right way. So I went ahead and invested in myself and to get it published. And it was just released in October.
Excellent. Yeah, so it's new, very new. Yeah, I did notice that. So then what would you want listeners to know most about you and your path as a firefighter and paramedic?
Hmm. So I guess I want people to know one about me. Like I said, I am a dad. I got kids. I love my job. It is the best job in the world. And even now I'm still thinking of, and I have plans for other things to continue to helping people out, kids out. That's always been probably my biggest passion, is to be able to help, especially children. I got a soft spot for children. So, be able to continue down that road and continue to help other people out. And then, as you can see, I am a little league coach, so I love kids. I love being a coach to my son's team and helping the kids out on that level as well.
So if somebody wanted to do this same thing, what would you recommend for them? Um,
So it is by far the best job in the world. What I would recommend is if they're interested in it, especially at a young age or even older, go to your local fire department, tell them you're interested in it, ask them if you could do a ride along. So a lot of people don't know this. If you're interested in it, the department will take you on as a civilian. If you're interested in getting in that career, you could run calls with them just to get an idea what it's really like, to see if it's for you. Obviously, this career isn't for everyone. We do see a lot of great stuff. Sad thing is we do see a lot of the unpleasant stuff, so you can go out, ride with the fire department, see the guys, and see if this career is really for you. If it is, then I definitely encourage people to take the steps, go to college, become an EMT, from there you become a paramedic, and then go on to fire school.
so with what you just said, that brings out a good question. So how do you manage the unpleasant stuff that you do see? How do you get that out of your mind to where you can just function and
Again, this job isn't for everyone. So for me, I have a great support of guys. What the best thing about this job is, honestly, the guys that I got to work with. We go back to the station, we're able to talk about it, we're able to vent, and being able to do that with people that have seen the same stuff you have makes all the difference. Sometimes when I'm off of work, and just with other, like some of the dads at the little league field, I'll say a comment and I'm kind of like, they look at me the wrong way. It's like, I got to remember, I'm not at the fire station. I got to remember who my audience is. That's probably the easiest way, because again, at the fire station, you're with a good group of guys that are close. You guys go through things together. You depend on each other a lot, for in so many ways, for support, mental support, emotional support, and obviously physical support for doing your job. So that's probably the best place.
is there anything else that you would like to add, maybe that I've left out?
Wow. I mean, it's I have the best job in the world. Um, I definitely enjoy going to work every day, and enjoy what I do outside of work. Representing the people, representing the department outside of the work. And yeah, and like my biggest thing is just I want kids to pursue, a career, even not just a career, but anything, and just to know that they have to be positive role models, that they could do good, even though they don't have to be a fireman, they could be good at school. Kids getting picked on at school, stand up for this little kid, saying, look, don't pick on them. You know, there's so many ways to help people out, not just being a fireman, in just your everyday life. All you have to do is just step aside and see really what's out there. And again, even for kids at school, you know.
So how old are your boys now?
So Alex is 13 and Ben is 11.
Do either of them talk about wanting to become a firefighter or paramedic?
Yeah, my youngest son Ben does. He talks about it. He still loves it. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for just sharing your time, and we look forward to getting your book, and we'll check out your website, and I'll also post your website in the show notes. But thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, and just thank you so much for your service and everything that you do.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I said, if you want to find out more information about Sean, which was the kid that I built a wheelchair ramp, that's on Google. If you Google Clearwater Fireman wheelchair ramp, you'll see a lot of pictures that I was able to do for him, and I still have more plans for him. I still keep in touch with the family. There's still more things I want to do, for this child, um, to be able to help him out. So again, it's helping. You can't help the world out. I wish I could help every single kid out. You can't, but if every person just takes one step to help one person out, together, everyone can kind of end up doing a lot more good than what they realize.
Amen. Amen. And thank you. And I hope this inspires someone to do the same. And you're incredible.
Yeah, thank you.